fans, it's the TSD Alyas here, back again with another banger. And today we have a special returning guest in the building. He is fighting on September 22nd on the second Off the Hook Boxing Series card, man. Please give it up for the one and only Pensacola versus everybody, Devin Cushing. Devin, how you doing today, man?
It's good, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Glad that you're here, man. Thank you for taking time out.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it having me.
Of course, man. Let's just get straight to the point because, September 27th, you're facing arguably your toughest opponent to date in Fernando Saucedo, a guy who's won, you know, multiple South American titles. Talk to me about this matchup.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. Guy's got a lot of experience. He's fought some world champions. Subriel Matias, Rance, uh, Bartholomew or whatever his name is, Cuban guy. Yeah, man. I'm excited to get in the ring and once again showcase what Devin Cushing is all about.
Yeah, and this fight, I know obviously you're already itching to fight. You're always ready to fight, but what's the most intriguing part about this matchup specifically?
Uh, Really just trying to up the opposition every time. You know what I mean? It's about that time, man. To step up the competition slowly but surely, and try to get the right opportunities, and make these big fights happen. And I'm trying to. I want to get to a world title. That's the goal. So, um, not letting up.
Yeah, and you mentioned it earlier. Rances Barthélemy, Ishmael Barroso, Emmanuel Togo, Subriel Matias, all guys that he's fought pretty recently. Do you feel like a win against him will open up bigger opportunities for you in the near future?
Um, I mean, only time can tell, man. You know what I mean? I, all I can do is stay prepared. You know what I mean, and control the controllables, and and just keep working hard and keep my nose down, stay focused, and that's it. You know, just like I said, I'm just trying to control the controllables right now. You know what I mean? If a big opportunity presents itself, I'm ready. I'm more than ready to take it.
Yeah. And your last fight, you stopped Julian Aristotle on the first inaugural Off the Hook boxing event. Since we've talked, what's the biggest takeaway you've had from that fight?
Um, yeah, man, it was a good outing. You know what I mean? It was a good showcase, a good performance, and really just trying to beat the old me. You know what I mean? When I watched that fight, it was a good performance, but you're only as good as your last performance. So each performance, I want to try and outdo my old self.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is your third fight of 2025. The last time you fought three times in a year was in 2022. What's the biggest difference between this version of Devin Cushing and the one from 3 years ago?
Um, Man, to be honest, I'm still working on myself. You know what I mean? Still got a lot to work on. Um, and like I said, just going against me every day. It's me versus me every day. Just trying to get better. And I feel like this Devin Cushion that is about to step in the ring September 27th is going to be one of the best Devin Cushions y'all seen in a long time. Um, and we're just trying to stay busy, man. Again, we're trying to climb that ladder to that world title. That shot.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this second off the hook card is that you're not the only Cushing fighting that night because your brother Dylan is actually making his pro debut on that card. How does it feel to be a part of a card where it's a significant moment in your brother's career?
Yeah, man, I'm just grateful for the opportunity. You know what I mean? How you know God works His magic, man. I was grateful and thankful, and you know blessed to have my brother, healthy on the card. You know what I mean? Ready to go. It's his time to shine and getting ready and prepared, and we're gonna make a statement come September 27th.
Yeah, and have you talked to your pops at all since the matchup was made? How does he feel about both of you guys, being on the same card?
Yeah, pops is excited, man. Really. I talk to Pops every day, so we've been in contact, and um, Pops ain't much of a talker, man. You know what I mean? When it's game time, it's game time. We stay at work, stay hard at work all the time. And it's just showtime. It's just no more talking. It's time to get to work and put on a hell of a performance.
There's kind of been a pattern on off the hooks, fight announcements. With these first two cards, you've been the first fight announced on Instagram for each of the cards. They're kind of putting you as the face of this brand. How do you feel that Dean and Brian and Ryan are trusting you to build the off the hook brand?
Yeah, man. It kind of puts a chip on my shoulder. You know what I mean? It makes me grind harder. You know what I mean? It's something to think about and really, you know, um, take into consideration. You know what I mean? The opportunity that I do have, um, and just trying to take full advantage of that opportunity. Is everybody don't get that. You know what I mean? So just not taking advantage of it and just working hard every day and carrying that with pride. You know what I'm saying? And showing that through hard work and action. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, as you climb up the ranks, the ranking keeps going up. Right now, you're 122nd in the world at 135 pounds, 28th in the U.S. Before a world title, usually there's a regional title or a continental title. How close do you think you are to, potentially getting one of those fights?
Yeah, man, we're gonna be looking at, hopefully looking at one of those fights maybe next year sometime. You know what I mean? Again, you were just talking about Dean. He's the man, man. Him and my dad, they work the business part out. I let them handle that, man. I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? Whatever they put in front of me, whatever makes sense to them, makes sense to me. And I'm just gonna leave it at that, and just, I'll do the rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 17-0 right now, 18-0 potentially incoming September 27th. 20-0, as we talked about before, is that sweet spot where many opportunities come, many big fights start being booked. Outside of the world champions at lightweight, what's a matchup that you really want to make?
Man, any of the top guys at 135. You know what I mean? I know, undoubtedly that I can fight with any of them guys. So, you know, um, only the like again, man, only time will tell. You know what I mean? I just want to control the controllables and keep doing Devin Cushing and stacking up the victories, and a big opportunity will present itself. And I'm gonna be more than prepared to take advantage.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned before, like you're ready to fight. You just want to keep your head down and fight. But as you get bigger, brand recognition is a key thing. Do you feel like sometimes there's a bit of pressure to do more, maybe on social media, or to kind of sell a fight, just so that way you can kind of get those opportunities in the near future?
For sure, for sure, for sure, man. You know what I mean? That's I get we're in 2025. That's the world we live in, right? The internet. You know what I'm saying? People roll over every morning, and that's the first thing they do is get on the internet. You know what I'm saying? So, I understand that. I've never been too much of an internet guy. You know what I mean? I'm more about action. You know what I mean? Than the talking and the funny videos and the goofballing around. You know what I mean? I'm a serious cat. You know what I mean? And it's a serious game. So, um, I just do me, man. I just do me. I stay in my lane, and yeah, maybe I should get on the internet a little bit more and start calling these guys out.
Yeah, man. I forgot to mention it because another fight was announced for this card. Obviously, someone you know very well, Sabin Kira. He's fighting on this card. He's fighting Julian Aristotle, someone you just fought. Have you guys started training together, and have you given him any pointers, since he was your last opponent?
Me and Saban, we actually sparred last night. So yeah, man, we always work. Yeah, we're always working, and I'm thankful and grateful to have them guys around the gym. Him and Coach Ben. You know what I mean? They're like family. We've like grown to like family, and I'm excited for him in this next step, and I don't think Saban will have any problems with Julian. You know what I mean? I think he's gonna be too fast and too slick, and as long as Saban does Saban cure, he'll be well off.
Yeah, absolutely. And Devin, my last question for you is what can fans expect September 27th when you step in the ring against Fernando Saucedo on Off the Hook Boxing Series 2?
A lot of tricks in my tool bag. If I can beat him with a jab, I'm gonna beat him with a jab. If I gotta pull out some other stuff, I'm gonna pull out some other stuff, and we'll see how long he can last. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be there to, showcase a good performance and give the fans and the crowd and the promoter and everybody what they want. And yeah, man, focus for September 27th, and I'm very excited.
It is truly Pensacola versus everybody when you step in the ring. Devin Cushing, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me, and best of luck September 27th. Hey, man,
Thank you, brother.
I got that too. I got that too.